Penny stock, fraud, scams, power, corruption, and lies and crooked cops. That's the focus of our episode today on the Penny Stock Detective. And we're going to expose, we're going to expose exactly why the corrupt Canadian scam exchange, aka the Canadian Securities Exchange, has been allowed to operate, why their top executives like Tricky Dick Carleton, Mark Faulkner, Pigface Mark Faulkner, are allowed to operate in the Canadian capital markets when, by all, by the regulations, they should have been banned, as should have been Tracy Stern, who is pictured in the photo. Now, we're going to tell you who all these people are. In the middle of this picture, you're going to see two gentlemen. That is the rapist, Peter Nygard. Okay, Peter Nygard and his good friend, Richard Carleton. That is taken directly from Instagram. That's right. Let me give you a good close-up picture. Let me see if we have this. Let's pull this up. Yeah, there we go. Okay, there we go. So that's the rapist and pedophile, Peter Nygard. He's got the arrow pointing to him. And his friend, Richard Carleton. That photo is on Instagram on the CSE's Canadian Scam Exchange. Their Instagram page, as of a couple of days ago, it's still up there. They're very proud of this, obviously, because this guy is sitting in jail. I mean, he's known to have raped apparently 100 girls. He's in jail in Canada, awaiting extradition to the U.S. on trafficking charges, sex trafficking charges. And that just shows you the character of Richard Carleton, who's also being sued by his...
the devil with blue eyes is what I call him. He asked me if I was interested in modeling for him.
About this guy is like probably the biggest mass rapist in maybe North American history. I'm talking about Canada, U.S. Apparently he's raped like about 100 girls. Some of them are underage, as young as 10 years old. And by the way, Peter Nygard, apparently, from what we see here, is a very good friend of Richard Carleton. That's the CEO of the Canadian Scam Exchange, aka Canadian Securities Exchange, the worst failing stock exchange on the planet. Penny stocks, their index is down like 85% over the last 5 years. Literally, it's the worst performing exchange. This guy is now under investigation. There's a criminal investigation which we have requested from the RCMP, that's the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, the Ontario Securities Commission, and the British Columbia Securities Commission into Richard Carleton, Mark Faulkner, Tracy Stern, and various co-conspirators who have committed serious securities fraud. And these people are, number one is they committed massive multiple acts of fraud that ripped off 4,000 investors that we know of. Millions of dollars have been lost. And most importantly, they are unfit to be executives of a securities exchange under the OSC and the BCSC recognition orders. What is that? You Google it. Links below. Okay, these guys should not be let anywhere near a stock exchange. But anyway, look, former chief legal counsel. There's allegations of securities fraud, all sorts of improprieties, and other scumbag behavior. And of course, we got the crooked cops on the left. That's Mark Faulkner and Rob Cook. Now, let's see, why are these people able to get away with all these crimes? Well, the answer is in that photo, these two ladies, which says "Which Way to the Bar." Okay, that is the one that says "Which Way to the Bar." That is Tracy Stern. She is the chief counsel at the Canadian Securities Exchange, aka the Canada Scam Exchange. The one on the right, that's her best friend of 20 years, Susan Greenglass, who is the regulator of the Ontario Securities Commission. One of the people there, actually, and her title, and actually her responsibility, frankly, is regulating these stock exchanges. That's right. The one on the left that says "rock on," yeah, these sassy girl power, over there, rock on, you go girl. Yeah, well, she's the corrupt regulator at the Ontario Securities Commission. Now, why do I say that? Well, we have forwarded her a formal request for investigation into the suitability of Mark Faulkner, Richard Carleton, and Tracy Stern. And we have not heard from her in 6 days. Okay, we've sent multiple emails. Okay, that's her right there. She's laughing. She's laughing at us. Okay, so yes, Susan Greenglass is laughing at us, as is Michelle Alexander. They're laughing and ignoring a formal investigation request into fraud and corruption by their cronies, which is Richard Carleton, Mark Faulkner, and Tracy Stern. Again, Tracy Stern, who works at the CSE, she's like basically running the place with Tricky Dick. She's got the sign that says "Which way to the bar?" And by the way, from what I understand, the allegations are she was falling down drunk at a party for one of these penny stock scams. I don't know, a couple months back. Anyway, yeah, a lot of these people like to drink. They like to have a couple of drinks in them. These Canadians, especially Tricky Dick Carleton. We hear also some stories about Montreal, the Formula One, strip clubs, lap dances paid for by penny stock promoters for Tricky Dick and his best friend. That's the young gentleman friend, James Black. We're going to be exposing that in the next video. But Susan Greenglass is laughing into a formal investigation request. Now, I'm going to show you what we sent her. Let me just pull this up over here. Okay, this is what we sent her. This is a serious legal document. Serious legal document. By the way, we did hear back immediately from the British Columbia Securities Commission, because yes, we heard, we filed this with the British Columbia Securities Commission and the Ontario Securities Commission. What is this about? Well, the Canadian Scam Exchange is regulated by, a higher authority. For example, NASDAQ is regulated by, well, actually, I don't know. I think is it FINRA, the Securities Exchange Commission? Those guys have authority over, the SEC in the US, FINRA, they have authority over NASDAQ, over the New York Stock Exchange, all that stuff. In Canada, it's these provincial regulators, British Columbia Securities Commission, Ontario Securities Commission, etc. And so the BC, they got back to us right away. Why? Because, they're not as connected to, these cronies at the CSE as the Ontario people are. This is what we sent them: formal investigation request. This is a pretty serious legal document. You can see this link below to read the full document. Okay, so again, regulatory basis for review. Okay, this is a big document. Mark Faulkner, relevant fitness and suitability. So basically, look, in order to be working at one of these at one of these exchanges, you have to be called a fit and suitable executive. Okay, let me explain. In order to be an executive at the CSE, you need to be what's called fit and suitable. Okay, meaning I'm assuming it means you can't have a prison record. It means you're not being investigated for fraud by the RCMP. It means you're not getting lap dances from penny stock promoters, which is again conflict of interest because you're supposed to be regulating these guys and things like that. Okay, and hanging out with rapists and pedophiles. Now I don't know. I would think that hanging out with a rapist and pedophile like Peter Nygard would make you, I don't know, possibly unsuitable. Now, of course, it doesn't stop there. Richard Carleton, that's the fat slob on the right, he's also being sued by his, let's see, where's that? Former chief counsel. Let's see, where is that? Where is that document? We have it here somewhere. Oh, there we go. There, it's right there. It's right there. Sorry. For four items are mentioned, which are very relevant. Financial improprieties, including documents backdated and cover-up by Chief Financial Officer Marianne Palangio. Conflicts of interest, securities law violations by Mark Faulkner, the crooked cop. I don't know. It might have involved insider trading. I don't know. There are some sort of conflicts of interest. Again, I haven't read the document. I don't quite understand it, but it's a document. It's a lawsuit filed by their former chief counsel, James Anderson. He has filed this lawsuit suing the CSE, suing Richard Carleton, and I think one of the things that's mentioned in there is some sort of conflicts of interest by Mark Faulkner that Tricky Dick was trying to cover up. Tricky Dick was trying to cover up some serious issues. And of course, we have abusive behavior towards CSC employees. That's right. Tricky Dick is an abusive boss. Tricky Dick is a nasty, nasty, fat, drunken old man who gives off small dick energy. That's right. All these Canadians, this is small dick energy on display. All right, look, we like to have a little fun with these videos. Anyway, look, again, rapist, pedophile, Peter Nygard with his friend over there, Richard Carleton. What's the relationship? I don't know. I'm not saying we're not making any allegations of, pedophilia or sexual impropriety by Tricky Dick. We're not saying that. We are saying that here he is. He's very proud to be seen in this photo. Okay, very proud of this photo. It's still up on their website. He thinks he's above the law. He thinks he's above the law. That's why he's got the photo up there to show you, hey, I can do whatever I want. Basically, that's the message. Tricky Dick is telling us I could do whatever the hell I want, okay? Because I'm protected. I'm protected by my friends. I'm protected by Susan and Michelle Alexander. Susan Greenglass and Michelle Alexander have my back. Why? Because I hired Tracy Stern to be my chief counsel, and she's best friends. That's right. It is the Girl Power Network. Girl Power Network right there. They're all laughing. They're laughing. The Girl Power Network. Now, let's see here. Let's see. How about, let me see. Let's look up their, let's look up the suitability of Michelle Alexander. Let's pull up this. Let's pull this up. Hang on. Let me get this page. There we go. Okay. So right there we got, LinkedIn account of Michelle Alexander. Who is she? Who is Michelle Alexander? We're going to be investigating. She doesn't have her picture. She's hiding. That's okay. We'll find her picture. We'll put up the picture. So what is her background? 4 years Ontario Securities Commission, acting VP, trading and markets. She's the one that wrote the suitability, from what I understand, this whole suitability thing about the exchange. So she's irresponsible. She's ignoring us. Before that, she was at the Investment Industry Association of Canada. I advocated on behalf of the industry on issues relating to legislation and regulatory initiatives and how they may impact the industry from an operational business. Okay. So basically, she's a shill. Okay. She was a shill for the Canada Investment Association. Okay. She was a shill for the Canada Investment Association, basically a lobbyist. She's a lobbyist, okay? She was a lobbyist. Listen, it's the swamp. It's the deep state, okay? We're talking about the swamp. So Michelle Alexander is a swamp creature. She's working as a lobbyist for this organization, trying to basically, help these guys get away with murder, and then she goes to the OSC. Usually it's the opposite. I'm not sure why she did it that way. Anyway, this is her background. Investment Dealers Association of Canada, regulatory policy. Oh, no, she did. Okay, so Investment Dealers Association is, I guess it's kind of a regulatory, also like a self-regulating type of thing. I guess kind of like FINRA? No, I'm not sure exactly. But basically, she was there. Okay, so again, she worked in the swamp. She works for like a regulatory body. Then she goes to work as a lobbyist, okay? Typical swamp creature behavior. And then she goes to the OSC to polish her credentials. And you can be sure that Michelle Alexander will be working at a law firm in a few years, probably Norton Rose or one of these law firms, maybe Bennett Jones. Wouldn't it be interesting if Michelle Alexander gets a job working at Bennett Jones with Tricky Dick's wife? Now, we know Tricky Dick Carleton, his wife works at the Bennett Jones law firm. And we're going to see if there's any connection there. We're going to be investigating. We're going to follow the truth wherever it takes us. Listen, these are matters of public interest. These are matters of public interest that we are reporting on. We're covering stuff that the Canadian media will not cover. Why? Because they got no balls. Canada has no balls. It's all small dick energy over there, okay? Small dick like Tricky Dick. And the Tricky Dick, hang on a second. Let's pull up that Tricky Dick. Let's pull up the Tricky Dick. The Tricky Dick is, that's the pig on the right. Mark Faulkner, the Tricky Dick. with a small dick energy. And there were 2 more small dick energy Canadian pigs. All right, these Canadian pigs, look at that. They're always holding a drink in their hand. This guy's got 2 drinks. That's Rob Cook, another corrupt regulator at the CSE, who is under investigation. That's right. He's included in that investigation order. Link below. By the way, guys, if you want to support our efforts here, make sure to subscribe to the channel. And you can also donate funds. That's right. Send 50 grand, 100 grand, whatever. And by the way, what do you guys think of this? What do you think of this corruption at the CSE? Leave your comments below. I want to hear from you. I want to hear your thoughts on the corruption, self-dealing at these crooked exchanges and the crooked cops who are regulating them. Okay? I want to hear from you folks. Now, let's go back to, so I showed you Michelle Alexander's background. How about Susan Greenglass? There we go, Susan Greenglass. There we go, Susan Greenglass. Looks like a picture from probably 20 years ago, but okay, it's okay. Listen, time gets to everybody. Okay, so let's see. What does she have here? She's got Ontario Securities Commission 16 years. She's a lifer. She's been there her whole career. Okay, she went to, what kind of school did she go to? I don't know where she went. Doesn't say. Anyway, she was a law clerk for Ontario Superior Court. Okay, it's respectable. 3 years, senior law clerk. That's a respectable position. And then she goes to the OSC, senior legal counsel. Then VP Trading and Markets, being a regulator. So she's a lifer. She's basically been a bureaucrat her entire career. These people all want a safe job. They want a safe job. They want to get paid. And oh, look at this, self-regulate. Oh, no. Oh, I can't believe this. They're doing a conference about self-regulating. Oh, come on. These people are so crooked. I mean, they're more crooked than they're, as the day is long. They are crooked as the day is long. Okay, she's a lifer there. Basically, she's part of the swamp. She's a swamp creature, helping out her friends, which is Tracy Stern, and you got the pig, Richard Carleton, Tricky Dick Carleton, right there, pedophile Peter Nygard, friend of pedophile. I'm going to call him FOP. FOP, Tricky Dick FOP, friend of pedophile, or friend of rapist, which, I don't know, what do you guys think? What do you think we should call a Tricky Dick? Should we call him FOP, friend of pedophile, or Tricky Dick FOR, friend of rapist? By the way, if you look up the Peter Nygard indictment, same pattern of behavior. As Afro Man has said, who's also facing a defamation lawsuit from cops, dirty cops. By the way, the CSE is trying to sue us for defamation. Again, what did the Afro Man say? He said, first they screw you, then they sue you. First they screw you, then they sue you. Why? They want to shut us up. They don't want us exposing this. The CSE doesn't want us exposing this corruption. The Ontario Commission doesn't want us exposing that. They're in bed with these crooked cops, and they are in bed. Michelle Alexander, Susan Greenglass, in bed with the people that they're supposed to be regulating. Dirty cops. The rot starts at the top. I don't know, folks. What do you think? Leave your comments below. Let me know what you think. Contact your regulators. Contact government officials. We're not gonna stay silent on this matter. We're gonna bring truth to power. Comment below.